Well, the Browns putting their wraps on preparation for the Dolphins today. Just a walkthrough now on Saturday on Mary Kay. Some bad news for them. David Njoku will not play against the Dolphins. And Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who did give it a go in practice today, he was ruled out after practice. He will not play either. So a couple of key players who won't be out there for the Browns.
Yeah, when we went out to watch practice today, I think we were all thinking that JOK might be able to play in this game, but not so. They'll have to do without him against these very, very speedy receivers who get downfield very quickly. So that was a disappointment for the Browns. And kind of the same thing with David Njoku. He was holding out some hope that he might be able to play, go back home to where he played his college ball at the U, and also he was ruled out, so they'll have to wait another week for him.
Yeah, and Ashley, you just hope that these guys are able to come back next week. Of course, neither of them were put on IR, which is certainly a good sign that they'll be back in the next couple of weeks, but still just a disappointment they won't be able to play in this game where they need as much playmaking as possible and as much speed as possible on defense.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to see, I said this yesterday, Sione Takitaki really step up and have another game like he had against the Bengals where, he was flying all over the field in that game. He forced that big fumble, 13 tackles, so they're really going to need him to keep stepping up given all the injuries that linebacker room has suffered this year. And on offense, I think, again, I have a lot of reasons for thinking this, but I think this is going to have to be a big Nick Chubb game, especially with David out again.
Now, some good news. Myles Garrett and DeSean Clowney, those bookend edge rushers, feeling better than they felt all year after that bye week. DeSean Clowney admitted that he needed the bye week. Myles Garrett really kind of said the same thing, that the bye week helped. So, Mary Kay, those two are ready to go down to Miami and try to wreak havoc on Tua.
Yeah, and you know what? This is one of the reasons why I think Browns fans can feel good about this football game, which is such an important AFC game to try to keep them in the hunt. Those two guys back healthy, they can wreak so much havoc. Two of the best in the business. Myles is on a tear, and I think it's going to be a huge difference in the game.
And they both, Ashley, separately mentioned the idea of batting passes. Tua gets the ball out fast. They want to get their hands up and bat some passes for that secondary to try and grab.
Yeah, and we've kind of been talking about this possibility all week, right? About the best way to stop these Dolphins receivers might be stopping it at the source by getting to Tua Tagovailoa. And we know, Myles Garrett said today, some of those passes he throws, we know he likes to go over the middle. They have a lower trajectory. The Browns have been pretty good at batting down passes this year. I think they have 12 from their guys up front. So I think that's definitely one of the top strategies to try to stop such speedy receivers.
And here we go. We're getting closer and closer to the actual return of DeSean Watson. Today was the last practice the Browns held where DeSean Watson will not be able to participate. He will be able to be back on the field beginning on Monday. And of course, the Browns will take the field to practice for the Bills beginning on Wednesday. So Mary Kay, DeSean Watson isn't all the way back, but he's almost there.
Yeah, and you're sort of starting to feel it. I mean, the vibe is sort of permeating the locker room. Guys are starting to talk about it. We talked to DeSean Clowney about that today. He's very, very excited for DeSean Watson to come back, even though everyone has really, really embraced Jacoby Brissett. We know that JD came here specifically to play with DeSean. He can't wait for him to get back. And, of course, he emphasized the fact that they have to give him something to play for, which means they need to win a couple more games.
Yeah, Ashley, it's not a surprise it was Jadeveon that said it, but he's really the first guy that said, yeah, we've got to give this guy something to work with.
Yeah, once again, I think DeSean Clowney has no problem being a bit more one of the blunter guys on this team, I will say. But, Myles Garrett kind of hedged that a little bit, saying, of course, we're not doing this for DeSean. He's the one that's coming back to us, so we have to, just keep winning week to week because that's the situation that they are in right now at 3-5.
Okay, Browns at Dolphins Sunday at 1 o'clock. We've got a preview video coming up. We've got a podcast previewing the game. Everything you need to get ready for Browns at Dolphins. It's all at cleveland.com/Browns.